The Last Wish. I absolutely loved this. I thought this was beautiful and kind of heartbreaking and really moving. I loved their choice of black and white. I loved that this kind of, what seemingly was his guardian angel or like angel of sorrow was so dispassionate and had basically or it was portrayed with no emotions. And I think a lot of the time, if you look at a lot of like spiritual references, that is how angels are typically described, as being kind of dispassionate, as having no emotions, of being kind of very black and white characters where there is no kind of shades of gray that exists. There is a fundamental right and wrong, follow the rules, do not break the rules, do not stray off that path. And I loved that they, like I said, made the choice for black and white. I thought it was more impactful, and that they really ran with that with this character, and that even through all of that, he still ended up at the very, very end going and checking on his apartment and seeing, and to see the way that he was so passionately wanting to go back for what ended up being like a dog, and how that animal impacted and, like he said, saved his life, I thought was so beautiful, and also highlights how big of an impact another creature can have on you, whether that's a person, whether that's an animal. Having somebody or something that you feel is bonded to you, how that can affect you. And then of course leaving the apartment door open so the dog could at least have a way of getting out of the apartment and have the ability to kind of continue on with his pups. And I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was really moving. I thought it was really, really beautiful. I thought it was impactful. I loved the choices that they made, and they really highlighted connection and grief and desperation, and I thought they did a great job.
I really liked The Last Wish. I really liked um the lighting. It was very noir, very like dramatic, intense. Used the black and white. I think the lighting used the idea that it was black and white to the best, like as a plus, to the max, to the best of its ability. Like it's like, okay, you shoot in black and white, and then you got a light for black and white, and I think they nailed that here. I thought the writing was really dope. Felt like bro was like pleading with God, kind of pleading with, or some angel as a middleman between him and God. And then the reveal that it's a dog. Absolute cinema. Great job.
The Last Wish. Wow, I liked this so much from beginning to end. The tone of it, the coloring of it, the black and white. It felt very thought out, very detailed, almost a little methodical, but in a good way. I loved it. I loved it. The costumes were great. The wings looked so well done. You didn't waste, to me, you didn't cut corners on this. I thought the makeup, the hair, the design of everything was really well done. The casting, the acting was really good. It really drew me into these two separate people. They were so different, and their energies were so different, but not over the top in any way. It was all really, really well done. Really nice lighting, and again, such great attention to detail here. Really beautifully edited and mapped out. It was just so, just the way the middle manager guy, even picked up those papers and envelopes and held them up and turned them over and put them over on the other pile. Just everything felt like it had a real rhythm to it. I wanted more. Very well executed throughout, and of course the twist at the end with the puppies, so sad, and the emotional reaction he had. And to me, it was very level. There were so many levels to that, because it was like kind of not what he expected either. He didn't expect the man that he had been talking to be the type of person probably to care so much about an animal. But it was just also that the animals, watching them and how innocent they are, and they're being affected by somebody dying. It was so well done. You can't even put it into words. Just so emotional. Really got me in the heart, and wanted to see more. So really well done, and good luck to you guys.
That was a sweet film. It felt very classical. It felt like one of those nostalgic classic films that they don't make anymore. It was very heartfelt. You felt for this guy. I didn't expect that when he was talking about that she'll give birth alone, that it was a dog. But it really was heartfelt. And I love that it's open-ended, that you don't actually know if the angel sent the guy back or not. But the fact that he was saying she'll die without me, I guess should have been the big clue that he was talking about an animal. But I thought he was talking about a very devoted wife. It's really heartfelt. It really tugs the heartstrings. This was a very beautiful and moving film. And it poses that question about what the afterlife looks like. And if we could have one last wish, what would it be? Even if you're not the nicest person, even if you don't have a lot of faith, if you had that chance for one last wish, what would it be? And it might not be what you think it is at the time. It really makes you think. It's one of those beautiful films that has that timeless feeling. We really don't get films like this much anymore.
The Last Wish, it has a very classic Wings of Desire sort of feel and inspiration to this short film. This is the angel of death, or a mere passing by in this transition of life and death. We have this person who is crossing, and he feels this need of having this sense of fulfillment, right? And your mind, quickly fleets to, is he going to become a ghost for his unfinished business? And so he's sitting here pleading with the angel of death and asking to go home. There are things that he has to be, things that are still needed to be done. And the angel of death pretty much sits there and copes and helps him grieve and navigate through this process of transition between life and death. And what is interesting is what happens in the third act is that we sort of transition from what we first originally view as our character who comes to, we see this through our original person who is transitioning's eyes, but then we get this center focus on the angel of death, and we get to see the hard work that this angel must face, going through the house and sort of seeing this sterile, empty environment that is kind of that rigid feel that happens, with death, or what you feel in that void of when there's an empty space. And we see the angel of death basically have this sense of this empathy despite having this I don't want to say apathetic, but this strong approach of acceptance of death itself.